let's see.
All right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan today.
I got...
Hey, Alan, we're mostly just talking so that we can...
I got far enough. That looks pretty cool. I want to start going through my to-do list of things that I think will make a big difference on how good it looks in a second, but I am noticing a few things I'd like to change. So I think I just want it to be a lot less saturated when it's off. Like I want that to go down, and I kind of want to add in
all right, I'm here talking to
I want to add in a little bit of decreasing value when
all right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan today.
And it's still so very colorful.
All right, I'm here talking to
less. Why am I feeling like I'm not seeing it get any smaller? Is the L value not low enough on that other one? That could be the issue. Okay. Here's avatar 0. Here's avatar 1. That's an L value of 0. So the saturation is 0.
All right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan today.
So that's not it. What if I just drop saturation all the way down to 0? Okay.
All right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan today. Hey, Alan, we're mostly just talking so that we can get 2 tracks of 2 people talking.
Right, I did do this weird stuff here. Why don't I drop all of that for now? All right. So.
All right, I'm here talking to.
Is that not right? Oh.
All right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan today. Hey, Alan, we're mostly just talking so that we can get 2 tracks of 2 people talking to each other, but there's only the 2 of us.
Okay, so that's all good and fine. I'm gonna tweak the curves on this. There's a couple different spots where I need to do curves. One is here, the interpolation from fully L equals 0 to fully L equals 1 doesn't necessarily want to be linear, and I probably want a different curve there for different parts of the signal being analyzed. And separately, I probably don't want the curve across space to be linear, and I've got to deal with those separately, right? So this is kind of a complex issue. I have the curves that control the saturation endpoints and the value endpoints over time, and the curves that control them over space, and I need to make sure they're both good. But first I want to get a little bit better with these process tracks. So I have activity levels in decibels. I now want to make a very smooth diversion. I'm going to start with naming. So there's just the unfiltered activity level per frame. And now I want one that's let's shrink that. That's a better name. Smooth level dB per frame. So smooth is going to be per frame, just like this one. So smooth level measured in decibels, indexed by frames. And what I want to do is basically the same thing as a low pass filter, except I don't necessarily care about what frequency I'm applying here. It's just the logic of, you know, taking the blur over time. So just start with a 0.5 on each and see how that feels.
All right, I'm here talking to
Max level dB per frame. Smooth level dB per frame. So this is going to be like the smooth level dB. Why don't we do this? Activity level becomes max level, and then max level becomes smooth level. Okay. And then this here, I kind of want to start doing F32 max level raw equals unlerp max level dB on that range. F32 max level is the clamp of the raw max level. How about that? So I can get a linearization of each of my decibel per frame things. And this becomes like, okay, so the radius should change like the smooth level.
All right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan today.
Now, why would smooth level, why would that change to make the other one disappear? That's a little strange, right? Let's take a look at that. Why is the second avatar disappearing on me? Frame 0, avatar 1, smooth level. Oh, it's using smooth level raw. That's a mistake.
All right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan today. Hey, Alan, we're mostly just talking so that we can get 2 tracks of 2 people talking to each other, but there's only the 2 of.
Okay, so that's okay. That's still not really what I want. I want a lot more smoothness than that. I want it to almost not be moving around. So I could apply a much more aggressive smoothing.
All right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan today. Hey, Alan, we're mostly just talking so that. All right, I'm here talking to
that's getting better, but let's just make it even more aggressive.
All right, I'm here talking to.
Why did that happen?
All right, I'm here talking to.
Avatar on the right, the right-hand avatar. The right-hand avatar is like, you see, it's like starting big. That shouldn't be happening, right? How would that be happening? I don't love the search in Remedy. Come on. I have to apply it more than once. Okay, there we go. So this is going to be for speaker number 0, like our first speaker, right? So I actually want to look at the second one. And let's look at max level dB per frame. Give me the first 60 of those. So those are super small negative values. Oh, right. Right. I can't have this start at 0. That's like the max. That's fully active. I need this to start at like negative 100.
All right,
but maybe the better thing to do is to have it start at source 0.
Alan, we're mostly just talking so that we can get.
Okay. I want it to
All right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan
I want
today.
it to be let's go back
Hey,
to
Alan,
this level, I
we're
think.
mostly just talking so that we can get two tracks of two people talking to each other, but there's only the two of us in the room, so it's got to be you and me.
Yeah, hi, normal Alan. This is going to be super awkward.
All right, so a couple things. I think this is too much, but I also need to do a separate kind of trick here. I want like a discrete understanding of who's talking that can move separately. So let's see, how do I want to break this down? What comes first?
All right, I'm here talking to Anti-Alan today.
Limits?
I
want to make sure
we're mostly
okay.
just talking so that we can get two tracks of two people talking to each other, but there's only the two of us in the room, so it's got to be you and me.
Yeah, hi, normal Alan. This is going to be super awkward because I'm literally just a person talking to myself.
Okay, so I think that's better. So now what I want to do is I want to do like a combined analysis that decides basically active or not. It's like I want it to get more binary. So right now I'm doing levels, which is fine. But what I really
I'm here
want
talking to Anti-Alan today.
is I want to have when watch this. Let's do it like this. So you see how on the left it's like going up and down, but no one else is like this side's not growing at all. It's staying clamped out completely, but this one's coming in and out. I kind of want it to know that it's the only one going, and like this one's going to do it too. It's going to go down and then keep going. Those like breaths where it's quiet enough, but the same person is still the speaker. I don't want it to shrink down to gray. I want it to stay like they're the speaker the whole time, right? I want to just know who's an active speaker at any given moment. So in order to do that, what I want to do is I don't want to say that there can only be one speaker. I want to be careful about that. Anyone whose smooth level is above 0 is a speaker. But if we have some zone where no one is a speaker, then what I want to do is look to see if there is a moment, if we're in a zone where to our left and right, the only speakers are the same person. We're in a silence zone where the speaker before and after will be the same person. Okay, I know what we need to do. Okay, so first things first, I want to start organizing this over here. So I'm just getting to the point where I have a lot of these types scattered around, and that makes certain things really difficult. Okay, so let's see. So we need a thing that's going to go like this. Okay. I'm going to start throwing in function declarations so that I can figure out what's going on. Make a list of speaker markers. All right, so there we have conversion to an array. Then I want to be able to sort it. So let's get a scratch arena. And then what we do is we go look at all the markers. Let's do it this way. Look at all the markers. Let's do it this way. Identify already sorted ranges. Sort range. Ranges equals 0. First range, last range. Okay. So then what I do is I make a new sort range on the scratch arena. That range has a first of, well, first of all, we push it onto the ranges. Let's do that later. Let's say first equals I. And then what we do is we go so we know that I was pointing at something in the array. So the first thing we do is we look at the next thing in the array, and we still require that I remain less than count, and we're going to keep iterating this way. So we have an outer loop. That one doesn't need to do increments anymore. We have an inner loop that goes grab the first part of the range and then start iterating. And what we're doing is we're saying at each step, if markers I dot frame index is less than markers I minus 1 dot frame index, then break. So what this is saying is, okay, we're looking at another index. If the frame index on this marker is less than the previous frame index, stop right there. That gives us one of two things. Either we stop at the very end of the array, or we stop the first time that the subsequent markers aren't in order. And that gives us our one pass last. And so then we put those into this range here on the queue of ranges, and then it's just going to go around. The one pass last of this range is going to become the first of the next range. So we're going to get a bunch of these ranges, these sort ranges in a linked list, and they're going to identify spots from where the frame index is strictly increasing. We're going to need a swap buffer. Which we can put onto the scratch arena. And we're going to need source markers and dest markers, like so. And then what we do is we say, let's do the first pass. So to do a pass, what we need is a loop that goes range 1 equals first range. If range 1 equals 0, that's the end of the pass. Range 2 equals, otherwise we okay. Range stack equals first range equals last range equals 0, right? We clear these out. Something off the range stack. Yeah, so this is actually inside of another loop. So this is how we do a pass. First, we grab the stack. We turn our range list into a stack. And then we start a loop where at each step of the loop, we grab a range. If we have no range at all, then we've cleared out the whole stack. There's nothing else to do. If we did get a range, then we go, okay, we can stack pop the range stack by 1 and get another range. If we got range 1 but we did not get range 2, we're still done, but we need to push this range onto the queue to reuse it. Check if we're done. So we want to check if the first range equals the last range, then we're done. Merge neighboring ranges. So we pop range 1. If there's no range 2, we just look at it next time and we break. Otherwise, we're going to pop range stack again. So we popped range 1 and we popped range 2. We got them in locals. And next what we're going to do is we're going to merge them. So to do that, what we need is we need an I, which is going to start at range 1 first. We need a J1, which is going to start at range 1 first. And we need a J2, which is going to start at range 2 first. We need a J1 opal, which is going to be range 1 opal. And we need a J2 opal, which is going to be range 2 opal. Okay. Then what we do is for as long as J1 is less than J1 opal and J2 is less than J2 opal, we grab frame index from source markers J1. This is frame index 1 dot frame index, and frame index 2 from J2. If frame index 1 is less than or equal to frame index 2, then dest markers I equals source markers J1. I plus equals 1, J1 plus equals 1. Otherwise, dest markers I equals J2, because that's the smaller one, right? Into there. Either way, I increments. Eventually, one of those folds. We stop getting things from one stream or the other. So J1 is less than J1 opal. If that is true, then we need to finish the loop by just doing dest markers I equals source markers J1, and then incrementing both of those. If J2 is less, but only one of these actually has to happen, because one of them will stop being true first. That'll exit this loop, and then one of these two loops finishes the rest. Once we're done with that, I should be at range 2 opal. And we moved everything from source to dest for those pair of ranges. So what we do is we take range 1 opal and make it equal to range 2 opal. And we push the new range onto the queue. Range 2 can just be forgotten about. And then it'll go grab the next 2 off the stack if it can, merge them, and so on and so on. Eventually we get all these merged. And then the only question is, do we need to transfer it back? If the, oh yeah, after a pass, swap source and dest. And now, so they actually end up in source because while we're moving them to dest, at the very end we swap them back, right? So the most up-to-date version is always pointed to by source at the end of outside of this loop. During this loop, we're transferring it from source to dest, and so at this exact moment here, dest has the most up-to-date version. And then we swap it again, right? At this moment here, I mean, dest has the most up-to-date version of the array, but then we swap it so that outside of this line here, it's always source markers that is most up-to-date. So if the source markers does not equal the original markers, then we just need to do an extra memory copy into the markers from the source markers to put it in the correct final location. The scratch will clean up the memory. Arena temp. Do I not have a base swap helper? That's fine. So that gives me a sort. Wait, what's going on here? I made a video render.h. It's in the wrong folder. Okay. Gonna have to go fix that real quick. Okay. So I've written the marker thing. I can make an array, I can sort it. Let's start by doing all that work. I'm gonna fill that and sort it, and then we'll continue from there. So we need a speaker marker list. Call that speaker markers. And during each of these, once I've got the smooth version, add markers to speaker marker list. I'll analyze the smooth version to figure out where speakers begin and end. So again, I'm going over the frame count. I'm actually going to start from here, and we're going to say if, or I mean, the really natural way to do this would be to say if smooth level dB per frame I is equal to 0 and smooth level, or no, we had a different, is less than 40. This is where I probably want to pull that out. So if we're at a point where it's considered silence, okay, So if we were considered silence on on frame I and on frame I plus 1, we are not considered silence, then speaker marker push onto the main arena using the speaker markers, frame index I plus 1 is where they started talking. And you know what? I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to have prev db equals -100 frame count. That way they can start talking on the first frame. Yeah, so if prev db is considered silence and the current db is not considered silence, then at this I, smooth level dB per frame I, okay. At this frame, speaker I began speaking. If, on the other hand, they were previously considered speaking, and on this frame, they are not considered speaking anymore, then we want to push a marker that ends the speaking. Okay, so that gives us markers of where speakers begin and end. So that should be good. Now I've got these markers in a linked list. And so next, why don't I actually move all of this down here, speaker marker list. This is always going to be possible to do later. So let's do this down here. For each speaker I, begin processing their, let's see, they've got these processed tracks, right? So let's just grab the track for speaker I. Grab the frame count for this speaker. Grab the smooth level dB per frame from this speaker, and then process it. That will let me do a couple of cool things. So first things first, I don't actually need to export this globally. I can just do it all right here. And I can say, actually, do I have a scratch? No, I don't. Great. Arena temp scratch equals m get scratch. I think I might have an arena in scope. Let's throw that in there. Which means now I can put that onto a scratch arena. I can put the next thing onto a scratch arena. Convert marker list to array. Marker array. Array equals speaker marker array from list, Scratch Arena, list. I'll just call this list now. Gives us a little more room to fit that in over there. Okay, so we built the array, and then we can sort it. Speaker marker array sort in place. Array.markers array.count. Let's see that much of it first. So here's the array of speakers. Let's look at, I don't know. Actually, how many markers are there? It's just only 72 markers. That's really interesting. I do want to add in one other thing that I didn't think of before, but it'll be fine for a second. Array.markers 72. These should be sorted by frames. We see speaker 0 going on and off for a bit, and then speaker 1 going on and off. So this is what I expected. We see frame indexes are sorted correctly, which is cool. And it goes back and forth between speaker 1 and speaker 0. We have them overlapping for a minute. So here he begins talking, he's talking, he stops talking, he starts talking again, he stops talking, he stops talking, he starts talking, right? Like this is good. So it can handle interleaving, overlapping ranges, and it can handle it gets them in the right order. I just want to make sure that if someone's talking right up to the last moment and the last frame isn't silent, that it still emits an end. So if previously they were considered speaking and okay, if prevdb is considered speaking at the very end, so after the last frame they were still considered speaking, then we also need to emit a marker that says they stopped speaking at frame count. Okay, that won't come up in this case, but it might come up in any, if I ever had a track where the last frame had noise in it. Just in case. That way all the ranges get closed. Next, what I want to do is simplify how do I want to put this? Simplify the markers. So what we're going to do is, I think I'll just write this one in place. No need to make a separate function that pulls this out. It's not a very simple, abstract, like tight concept. It's more specific. So what I want to do is look over the speaker marker array that I have now. Simplified count equals 0. I'll take a speaker marker source, which will come from markers, and dest will also come from markers. And then I'll make an OPL. For as long as source is less than OPL. So we're just sort of looking at each thing in order here. The simplified count at the end is going to be the U64 you get when you subtract out how far the dest pointer got from where it started. And then what's going to happen is, if I have an end followed by a begin of the same speaker, I'm just going to eliminate both of them. If source marker, yeah. So if source is a begin and if source plus 1 is less than opal and source is a begin and source frame index speaker index equals source plus 1 speaker index. So we have the speaker has not changed. It's the beginning of a range, and the next range is also a valid one so that I'm allowed to do this in the first place. Let's do that like that just to capture that. Then the source pointer should advance past both of these markers. Otherwise, the dest pointer should get a copy of the source pointer and they should each advance once. So in the normal case, what we're doing, if you ignore this path, we're just copying from source to dest and they happen to overlap, so it's totally redundant. But sometimes what we're going to do is let the source pointer skip ahead. So as it's skipping ahead, the things it does continue to copy will be copied back in the array in previous spots. So it'll only copy back those things that capture actual changes in the state of speakership that don't just sort of smooth over into having one continuous same speaker. Right, so basically silence between me talking and me talking again should not be considered a change in speakership. So if that's true, if that works, yeah, this is just OPL. One pass last. Then, after that has run, we have a simplified speaker marker array. And so there are 6 of them. Let's take a look at what the array.markers 6 looks like. Oh, this isn't quite right. No, I got it backwards. It's not if it begins and then this ends. It's if it doesn't, if it ends and then the next thing that happens is the same speaker begins.
All right, I'm here talking to. So can I get the count now? Simplified count is 16. That's a little bit more like what I would expect. So yeah, right here at the beginning, frame 4, speaker 0 starts talking, and then speaker 0 stops. Speaker 1 starts talking. Speaker 0 talks. Speaker 1 ends talking. Speaker 0 talks. Speaker 0 stops talking. So we can see it's going back and forth between these two people. And then somewhere along the way, we have a case of an interesting, see if I can find it. Yeah, 0 talks, 1 stops, 0 stops, right? So it can capture that kind of pattern still. But it doesn't have like a bunch of starts and stops of speaker 0. Speaker 0 starts talking, and we don't find out that speaker 0 stops talking until the new speaker is someone different, right? If the new speaker is just speaker 0 again, we don't say anything. But we don't lose information like sometimes 2 people are talking at once. Okay. Okay, so we've got that.
but I still need to be able to use it, which means now what I want to do is use this to build a is this speaker speaking buffer for each speaker. So what we're going to do is say oh, is my stream delay causing some issues? I could probably reset and try it again. No, I didn't know that there was a stream delay. Let me should I try to stop streaming and start again and see if that fixes it? Actually, let me just double check and see if anyone else is having the same issue before I do anything drastic to try to fix it. I would love to try to get those synchronized, because especially for this particular kind of video, like a audio visualizer is going to be a lot more entertaining to watch if the video and audio are synchronized. Is there anyone else hanging out who can... Okay, so other people did have to mess around with it. Should I do something? And if so, what? Should I just restart the stream? I feel like I want to do something to fix it. I know you guys can, if you know how to delay the audio yourself, that's awesome. But I'd rather just fix it for people who are passing by and get annoyed, you know? But I'm asking for a little advice because I have no idea. Let me try and just reset the stream. Is that good with everyone? I'm gonna try it.